Hi guys, let's talk about visualization. I'm Les Bubka, and today let's talk about visualization for karate. I personally use visualization often to improve my performance, to get familiar with environment, and I would like to share with you a few tips from sports psychology. So visualization in my karate has got a place as a development tool, working on my techniques, on my feelings, familiarity within events, and helping incorporate all my senses into that imaginary world that will translate later to be a more comfortable within the environment I put in, like competitions, seminars, or demos. So when we work with visualization, we want to incorporate as many senses as possible within our imagination. So we, for example, might be imagining how our gi feels, our equipment on, what are the noises during the event, how the mats feel, how will be judges behave, what the audience will do, and so on and so on. Mostly we're working on vividness and controllability. Vividness is our ability to imagine as vivid as possible the environment. So we see the judges, we see our competitors wearing gi, we see our gloves. If you're wearing gloves, we see the colors around, and we see spectators looking at us. Controllability is when you are imagining your technique and you can correct it. So let's say I do a roundhouse kick and I'm not happy with the trajectory of it, so I can imagine it going better. More I imagine it, and the more I can then relate, and my body gonna take over to correct a technique. It's a great tool, I use it quite often. So for me, I imagine me kicking like, let's say like Van Damme. Van Damme is my favorite technician from the kind of movies, and I always wanted to kick like him. So every time when I try to improve my Moa Shigeri, I imagine how he would kick, then I imagine how I'm kicking. This allowed me to improve my technique quite a lot within the parameters I can do, because my hips don't allow me to kick perfectly. But through that imagination, you know, I can imagine how my foot rolls, how my hip goes out, how my legs flow. I can improve the quality of my kicks, and you can apply that to any techniques you want, or combinations, or whatever you want to do. So in sports psychology, there is an acronym used, PET-LEP, which is in reference to a few steps that you take in visualization, effective visualization for your sports. Let's have a look on that stages. So P is for physical, E is for environmental, T is for task, second T is for timing, L stands for learning, E stands for emotion, P stands for perspective. So PET-LEP is an acronym used in sports psychology, where we use it in our visualization. Let's look in the detail what this anagram means. So P for physical means that you try to imagine as much physical details as possible. How we're gonna make you feel, what response I'm gonna have from the mats, how my gloves gonna feel, and everything which is physical, how the contact might feel, how the punches I'm gonna receive, and you try to imagine that as vividly as possible. So P for physical means that you try to imagine as much physical details as possible. How we're gonna make you feel, what response I'm gonna have from the mats, how my gloves gonna feel, and everything which is physical, how the contact might feel, how the punches I'm gonna receive, and you try to imagine that as vividly as possible. Environmental, it means that you try to imagine as much as possible your environment, how it's gonna be in the dojo, how it's gonna be on the arena, how loud it's gonna be, your spectators cheering for you, what it's gonna be smell like, sound like, everything that's gonna be within that environment bombarding you. So you try to accustom to it so you not get overwhelmed or scared, feared or fearful or something like that. So environment, everything around you as vivid as possible. Task. So you imagine exactly what you're gonna do. If it's a combination or a single technique, you try to imagine it as detailed as possible. I like to do it within the best possible technical aspect, right? So I want to do it as best as I can, and I imagine it. I either imagine it a real speed or a slow speed, which we're gonna talk about it a bit later. Timing. So timing is to imagine that your technical ability within either a regular speed or slow motions. It depends what you want to work on. The real time imagination would be in timing. So we're fighting when I want to strike, where I want to hit, what I want to avoid. So everything within me striking and doing the action, right? So maybe I want to do throw, so I need to slip in, go in, throw. So that's a real life timing. The slow motion timing is gonna be more about the technical. So how I want to perform the strike, going in, maybe here I see how that fist turns in when the impacts go and how I want to do it, right? So I do as much detail, technical detail I want to do, and that's gonna be working with our timing. Learning. This is quite important because we're all going on different levels, so I cannot give my student the same level of imagination and complexity as I am. So you need to review the learning all the time and progress it, right? We've done something simple like throw a strike, a vertical fist strike. It's quite easy, so you can imagine it, and then you're gonna have a build up complexity. So it's gonna be a strike followed by a hook, but uppercut. So this is a bit more complex. You need to do it, have enough proficiency of doing it on the pads, and then you can start building that in the tuning perfection within your imagination, but you have to have some competency to do that activity to be able to build up on it. E for emotions. So we want to imagine as much emotions as possible, but we try to focus on positive ones. We try to avoid fear, anger, and lack of confidence. You want to imagine that you are confident, you are a winner if there's a competition, you are the superstar, right? Everything goes well, that confidence, that powerful constitution, and you want to be the top dog. P for perspective. So you can have a first person perspective, so I'm looking from me, and a third person perspective. So somebody else watching, you watching it as a third person, and this one is ties with the timing is the same. I'm looking from first person if I do working on timing on real life action time, if you can say that, and to fine-tune those techniques that going in, maybe slip in, jab, cross, whatever, grab, throw, you can work on that timing, and that's from your own eyes, right? If you're working on like foot placement, kick, or technique, slips or something like that, you watching in slow motion from the third person. So you're going in from a side, oh, my foot needs to move. So you see actually how that foot moves, where that foot moves, and what's gonna follow, right? Because we all are aware of our mistakes. So maybe I'm not stepping enough offline, so I can imagine that foot going offline, then the kick comes in. And through that imaginary work, I can improve my physical skill as well. So that perspective is very important depending on what you want to work for. I hope that those tips are useful for you and you're gonna try that at home and it's gonna improve your karate. Let's do a little bit of an exercise with it because it's, feeling is believing, and I can show you how simply you can test it, show your students and convince them to do that. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna turn around and you're gonna choose the point of maximal range. So you're gonna get your arm, you're gonna go pointing. For me, let's say it's the a draw, handle for a draw. That's my maximum. What we're gonna do, we're gonna sit down and you're gonna look, close your eyes, look through your imagination and imagine that you're moving past that point. You imagine it going past that handle 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. Now open your eyes, put your hand again and again. Try to go where your imagination told you. So for me, it's about 10 centimeters more. Try. So far, all my students, doesn't matter which age group, is working for them. So try. Then you can start building up more complicated stuff. And with visualization is the key practice, like with everything. More you're practicing, the more you're gonna have benefits from it and easier gonna be. I hope this was helpful. Thank you for joining me here on our library. It's much appreciated that you're supporting us and joining us here. I hope to produce more content like this, so I'm gonna look more deeper into coaching stuff based on my experience from wrestling, karate and sports psychology. I hope that's gonna be valuable for you and you're gonna stay with us. Once again, thank you. I much appreciate your support. See you later.